So Olivia, do you want to talk us through McCormick? I mean, some people in the room might not be familiar with McCormick, maybe Schwarts, but give us an overview of McCormick.
Yeah, so firstly, thank you for having us, and good morning, everybody. Really excited to be here, and let me tell you first, who are McCormick? First off, we are a company that is an American-founded company, about 130 years old, and we are the purveyors of some of the world's most loved herbs, spices, seasonings. We do sauces, and if you think about the brands you might know us more for, it's the likes of Schwarts in the UK. We have a big business on Ducros, an amazing brand in France, Camis in Poland, and then moving on to the world of mustards and hot sauces, some cool brands like Cholula, French's, Frank's. So that's who we are, and really excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. And Andrew, do you want to give us an overview of the challenge that you set for the startups?
In terms of our challenge today.
The challenge, yeah. Do you want me to? I'll do this. I'll pass my wingman for this. So we went big on our challenge. We were really thinking about, the problems in the world that we need to solve right now. So it's fantastic that we've seen, so much cooking and people getting into their kitchens during COVID. But the challenge we really wanted to get some thinking on and speak to some great brands and companies about was how can we, in a world where we're all allowed to come out and do more exciting things, encourage more homemade and scratch cooking. So that is the small question that we're asking ourselves, along with a lot of other businesses today.
Awesome. Awesome. And anything that you're looking for in the startups as they present?
Yeah, well, I think we'll start by saying, so I look after growth and innovation in McCormick, and I would say, with that in mind, I'm really interested in terms of the different ideas and how we might be able to take, I guess, to change consumer habits. And I'll also introduce Andrew, who's obviously a real important co-partner, and let him explain his role so you can hear a bit more about how that relates.
So good morning. My role at McCormick, I arrived in 2019, and it covers the digital transformation for the EMEA region. In the global role now, we're looking at our core capabilities across media activation, and we also have in-house studios. I think for our priorities today, we're looking at how we can scale personalization and how we can actually kind of manage the walled gardens and our own properties. So the challenges that we have at brands are how we work with influencers and how we can be authentic across the messy middle and our digital ecosystem. So really excited to see some of the ideas today from these startups.
Amazing. Olivia, Andrew, thanks so much for setting us up. The challenge has been set. How do we re-engage or engage consumers even more in scratch cooking in a post-pandemic world? We're now going to hand it over to the startups who are going to give a 3-minute pitch, and then we've got 2 minutes for a quick Q&A. So please join me in welcoming Peter from Interact.
Thank you. Thank you very much. When people play, their minds light up. When people play, they have fun and engage. And when people play the Schwarts exclusive level in a game they know and love, they're going to be engaging with home cooking in a way that unleashes the power of play. So I'm going to tell you about Interact, which is an ad tech platform that helps brands get into games. And specifically, how Schwarts can unlock that power of games, can use play to inspire people to cook at home. But first up, who are we? We're game developers, and we've developed Interact to be an ad tech that allows brands to serve campaigns at all stages of the consumer purchasing process, from integrated display ads to purchasing clickable, tappable ads served to players when they complete tasks. So what about Schwarts, your brief? You want to inspire people to cook at home. You want people to have fun and engage with cooking. So we want to get you into one of our games. And Too Many Cooks is one of our games. It's been downloaded 1.5 million times. It's got a 4.3 star rating. It's a cooperative party cooking game where you can cook on your own or challenge your friends to complete recipes. And it's really good fun. So let me show you how this might work. What we've missed the screen there is serving an actual prize at the end to say, QR code, here's your free sample from Schwarts. So awareness, purchase, and engagement with cooking at home through play. And we know the power of play goes beyond just what's in the game. This is content that we think will get people talking. So share your score, challenge your friends, show your shake. So what now? Well, we'd like to talk. We'd like to show you how Schwarts can use play to inspire people to get cooking. And together, we want to unleash the power of play. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Solid start there, Peter. Solid start. Let's jump into a question from our panel.
So currently, what's the core demographic of the user base here?
For Too Many Cooks?
Yeah.
So Too Many Cooks itself, it's pretty much 50-50 in terms of gender split. Core age is 20 to 30-year-olds. Yeah, and we've got, as I say, 1.5 million downloads. What we call MAU, the monthly active users, 20,000 players. So yeah, that's a sort of demographic. Just to say as well, that's a demographic that was constantly evolving. So when we run campaigns with brands, we'll often work with that brand to say, who do you want to go after? And we'll acquire players of this game specifically for that demographic. Cool.
Brilliant. Thank you, Peter.
Good. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you. Cheers.
All right, so we've gone from the world of gamification to the world of personalized and shoppable content. From Nexus, here's Graham.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So, recipes are a really great way to encourage consumers to do more homemade cooking. You don't really need me to tell you that because you've got thousands of them already. But what you don't yet have is the ability to deliver the best and most relevant recipe for each consumer at key moments in their buying journey. So what I'm going to talk to you about this morning, just for a few moments, is what could that look like as an experience for the consumer, and how can you get to be able to deliver that? First example here, in your existing McCormick homepage, so we're looking at the main McCormick site, you've got featured recipes. Those are currently static, so everybody sees the same recipes. Why not move that to personalized, where basically the recipes respond to who the consumer, who the shopper is, and they see the most relevant recipes individually, each person. That also helps you to start to surface the right content for the right person at the best time. Second example here would be with TikTok recipes. So here on the bottom of the left-hand side, what we're talking about is introducing TikTok recipes that again are personalized. So for each person coming into this part of the journey, they'll see the video thumbnails that are most relevant for them. They click on one of those thumbnails, and up pops up the content itself on the left-hand side, and alongside it, dynamically, the most relevant product or products. So now I can be inspired by the recipe content, and I can very easily get to that product or products that I need to start doing that home cooking. Here in this third example, similar approach, but here we have 4 Instagram recipes. Again, they're dynamically changing, so each person that's coming into the journey is seeing different content. And essentially, same approach, click on one of the thumbnails, up comes the Instagram post, and the appropriate product is being automatically chosen based on whatever that content is. So it's all completely dynamic. And fourth and final example, in your McCormick shop, which covers obviously all of the brands, very interesting concept, very product oriented. Why not start to bring some of that recipe content in to give confidence and inspiration to people that are coming through this shopping experience so that they're motivated to want to do more. So there's a few ideas of what that might look like. And very briefly, how do you get to that? Connexus is a platform, it's a visual commerce platform. And what we're talking about here, based on those examples and others, is the ability to deliver everything that we've shown you on a fully automated basis. So there's no manual effort, there's no rules or creation that needs to be put into place. All of that content is personalized, so it's based on data, first-party data, behavior and intent of the visitor coming into the journey. It covers any content, could be TikTok, YouTube, social posts, articles, any content that you can think of. And the platform automatically will make every piece of content shoppable. So you have that seamless experience. Content gives you the inspiration, ability to buy product, take it home, start shopping with it. And finally, it's completely transparent from an analytics perspective in terms of attribution, so you can understand how it's impacting behavior, and you get powerful insights around what content actually drives which behaviors. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just a quick question. API integration for programmatic DCO, is that scalable?
There's full API capabilities with the platform in and out, so pretty much can connect into anything that has an API.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Well done. All right. So Graham mentioned TikTok, but now an agency specializing in helping brands show up and launch on TikTok is Favored. From Favored, here's Andy.
Hello, Glastonbury. Oh no, wrong place, sorry. Cool, so I'll dispense with the intro, but broadly we're a performance marketing content agency. And really, I'm here today to talk about viral cooking in a post-pandemic world. Probably shouldn't have mixed viral with cooking, but there you go, I did it anyway. I want to talk about TikTok. And unless you've been living under a rock, you must have seen that TikTok is a pretty big deal. It's a very fast-growing platform, and as you can see, you just got to look at the headlines to understand that TikTok and food go sort of hand in hand. And as you can see, it drives sales as well, which I think is really interesting for you guys. And Food Talk, as it's called on TikTok, is a pretty big deal. It's the 8th most popular category on TikTok. It's got 18 billion monthly views. And TikTok's breaking record. It's made $12 billion in its first 6 years, which took Facebook 11 years to do. And it holds the record for the most app downloads in a single quarter on any app. Come on, work. My clicker's stopped. Can you press to the next slide, please? Don't dot my time for that. It's not my fault. Sorry. Don't put the countdown on me. Anyway, what I was going to say, let's talk TikTok. I can't show you the rest of the slides. Oh yes, I can. Look, there we are. You guys are already on TikTok, and I'm not here to slate what you're doing on TikTok. At least you have a presence. But what I would say is your follower numbers are a little low, and you've only posted 6 posts in the last month, which I think for a brand on TikTok, you need to up that content. So we think McCormick and TikTok is a match made in heaven. There are literal hundreds of potential routes that you can take on your own brand pages, from brand-led to challenges to cook with me things. And I think, especially in the age of oncoming austerity and cost of living rises, there's really good food hacks and all that kind of stuff, which rates really well on TikTok as a content stream. But really, where you want to benefit from TikTok is transcending the brand page. And by that, we can look at the Chipotle lid flip challenge as a sort of idea of what you can achieve. So the Chipotle lid flip challenge generated 329.3 million views on that hashtag. And I think, interestingly, that went viral. And there's no reason why McCormick can't go viral. There are plenty of challenges that can work wonders for your brand. From cooking challenges to pound-driven challenges, working with influencers, I think you guys have the potential and the product range to really leverage TikTok and go viral. And that is my very short pitch on why you guys should think about TikTok as a growth channel for your brand. I think at Favored, we are obviously a performance marketing agency, but we do specialize in content for growth channels like TikTok. We've got a team of TikTok content creators, but we also leverage influencers and content creators, both for your page and off page. And as an agency who've adopted TikTok early, we've got access to agency-specific secret channels and tools that we can use to really power your guys' channels and hopefully grow the brand, both for sales and brand visibility perspective. Thank you. Any questions?
You've caught my ears with the secret access to channels.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, would we be able to hear more? Or is that top secret?
So, it's not that secret, but as an agency, we obviously have access to things like the TikTok Creator Marketplace, and we've got other access to influencer tools, which we can leverage. Generally, when we activate influencers, we do it in one of two ways. Either a classic influencer-led campaign where you're trying to get views through their channels, but we also leverage content creators or micro-influencers, generally for content on your guys' channels. So we're not too fussed about how much reach that actual person is going to get, but more how we can leverage the content they're creating for your own channels.
I'm really happy you didn't do the cinnamon challenge. It's one of the examples of our herbs and spices, so really good content. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought about doing the cinnamon challenge kind of thing, but I don't know if that's very responsible as a brand, so I left it out.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Andy. Well done. Brilliant. Well done, Andy. That's halfway. 3 down, 3 to go. And we're going to jazz things up a little bit now with the comedy crowd. So please welcome John to talk about how you can get comics to work on your brand.
Thanks, Jeremy. Morning, everybody. I was running through this presentation with my wife last night, and she said the way to loosen up a little bit would be to imagine somebody in the audience breaking wind. So if someone would do that now, that would really help the presentation. Thank you, sir. Excellent. Right. Now, we at the Comedy Crowd, we help brands to engage their audience, and we do that by empowering the world's comedy creators. And that's creators with millions of followers and award-winning. Or to put it another way, we're like the gold leaf on top of the wonderful cake that is your brand, that helps people to pay attention, to share it with their mates, and to devour the lot. So the way that we believe McCormick should best respond to this brief is by being relatable, authentic, and funny. And that's tapping into the drama and the comedy that people have around the kitchen with content powered by our community. And I'll explain how. So in the kitchen, some of you here will be the head chef at home. Some will be the person primarily responsible for the cooking. And maybe you've had the odd dream of applying for MasterChef. And those of you who aren't the head chef will likely be the sous chef. A particularly useful character to have around the kitchen, someone who achieves all of these complex tasks whilst keeping one eye on the TV and taking far too much pride in the job. Fans of Friends think Chandler being put in charge of the cranberry sauce on Thanksgiving. The sous chef is a funny character, and it's the kind of character that people recognize and relate to around the kitchen. See, comedy engages people. And these are some examples of some of the content that we've done produced at the Comedy Crowd, including working with the likes of O2 and NBC Universal. And in fact, our most recent campaign with a tech brand resulted in an increase in engagement of over 700% across their channels. So comedy engages people. And much like an ungreased baking tray, it also sticks. And the reason it sticks is because of the humor effect, which is a cognitive bias that means people remember information more when they perceive it as being funny. So humor engages people, and it also sticks, and that means people take action. So the way that we would work with McCormick is that we would put the brief out to our top talent, diverse comedy creators, and we would receive hundreds of ideas back around comedy characters that people relate to in the kitchen, like our sous chef. And so many ideas that couldn't possibly come from the minds of just one or two people. And that really is the crowd in action. And we would take the best ones to make engaging content for your channels. So McCormick already has some really great content that engages people in that moment that they're cooking. And what we would do is add relatable, authentic, and funny content to create a magic mix that really excites and brings out the joy of cooking at home. Thank you.
Great, thank you, John. I think it's a very unique idea, actually. And I'm curious, how do, because obviously, you know, the nature of comedy is it can be quite polarizing. How do you think that works when you kind of put it in the brand lens and, you know, that it might be content that works for some, others find it less funny? Like, what's your experience on that?
Yeah, so this is where having the crowd really makes a big difference. So but we've got people from all different diverse backgrounds and creators from different styles. And by tapping into all those different ideas, we can select the ones that are the best fit for a particular brand and a particular audience. So we've worked with some specific brand, so one we're working at the moment very specifically appealed to kind of techie people and coders, and that's a really specific niche audience. Whereas when we worked with O2, they wanted to appeal to all their different demographics. So you have some people who are working mums, some people who like sports, and so we have different creators who create content based on those different, based on the different appeal we're trying to target. And by narrowing it down and starting with a broad number of ideas and narrowing it down to fewer scripts and then ultimately the right content, then we can actually, that funnel really helps to find the right thing.
Awesome. Well done, John. Great. Oh, sorry. Giving away all the secrets. So, there we go, Comedy Crowd. Do check them out, as you can check out all 35 companies here. We're now going to move on to our next pitch. If you're finding it hard to hear because of the madness next door, then chuck your headphones on and you can hear Whisper, our next company. Give it up for Whisper.
Hello, hello, hello. We are called Whisper, but I'll try and speak loudly. I'm Ollie, I'm one of the co-founders at Whisper, and we're on a mission to democratize advertising by turning consumers into influencers. So how exactly do we do that? Well, we connect brands to Gen Z through their best and most engaging influencers, their friends and family. So as you may be familiar with, it's becoming increasingly difficult to connect, engage, and inspire with young consumers. Traditional channels are oftentimes unidimensional. They have a one-way communication channel. So influencers have become the major way to talk to consumers through a friendly face. However, they're not without their shortcomings. Influencer marketing is experiencing a crisis of authenticity, and we all can experience why. Influencers almost become a dirty word. This is really exemplified by the fact that influencer marketing average engagement rates are now at just 2.4%. Not a lot of people. And it's also exacerbated by the simple fact that there's not many influencers out there. With the increasing demand for them, there's a limited supply and a lack of diversity. So how can we find new ways to engage with consumers? Well, I'd like to introduce to you today the concept of friendfluencing. At Whisper, we use the influence of the regular social media user to spread the word about brands and products on their personal social media accounts. This means we reach an audience of friends and family, not just fans and followers, the people we love, care about, and trust the most. Why use one influencer with 100,000 followers who they barely know, when you can use 100 regular people, each with 1,000 followers who they know, love, and trust? And the benefits are immediate. Friendfluencing, on average, achieves 10 times higher engagement rates than average influencer marketing, and studies show that you're 5 times more likely to take action and purchase if a friend recommends something. But there's benefits outside of just reaching friends and family. By utilizing far more people, the volume of content created is far higher as well. You create 100 times more pieces of user-generated content because you're using real people creating authentic content for their friends and family. And also, by utilizing multiple smaller people, it's a targeted and direct alternative, both demographically and geographically. As you can see here, friendfluencing compared to the engagement rates of other types of influencer marketing absolutely dwarfs it, with 24% average engagement rate against the 2.4% on average, because we reach an audience of friends and family. This is a demonstration of how we did for the most loved food brand in the UK, Yo Sushi. We even exceeded our standard 24% at this occasion by almost achieving 46%. And 74% of those people were in the targeted cities, unlike an influence of the 100,000 people, with their audience all over the world. Completed at scale with a cost per engagement of just 9 pence. So how would we translate this success for McCormick branded products within the UK, namely Schwarts? Well, we would deploy hundreds of student friendfluencers to share a cooking experience to their social media accounts. Perhaps an easy recipe that's easy to imitate from their friends. And because cooking is an inherently communal activity, you cook for your friends and family, we would get them to engage it in a communal environment like their university accommodation. We'd amplify an authentic moment. And of course, as food cooking habits start at university and last a lifetime, we'd be able to build an ongoing relationship with consumers at that stage that lasts throughout their entire life. And also, you're putting money back into students' pockets. They're going to be going out and purchasing the products to make the content. So we'd be creating a circular economy immediately. We'd utilize them along with strategic foodie student influencers to create a 360 brand immersive campaign where they're getting advocation not just from people speaking down for them, but the people around them. A digital word of mouth. We have advocation from the largest consumer packaged goods agencies in the world, and we're super excited to see how we can do this for McCormick's. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm really curious. How do you find your friendfluencers? How do you become a friendfluencer?
Great question. Well, our strongest method of growth for finding new friendfluencers, surprisingly, is friendfluencing. It'd be a lot like a chef not eating their own food. You know, we find our best channel is our own, but you know, many of them refer their friends, tell their friends about it. We truly believe that digital word of mouth is the strongest way to do something like this, and you know, creating conversation, intimate conversations between friends is the best way to get the word out about any product. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ollie. Great pitch. All right, that's 5 down. Lucky last. We're going to be looking at the world of Promotigo and how you can use engagement to drive data. Please welcome Deb.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Hi, I'm going to obviously direct this at you, and I've obviously got the graveyard slot, but nice to meet you. I'm going to start by very quickly just saying what we do, because I'm aware there's been a lot of information in the last 10 minutes. There we go. So basically, we're a global data collection and interactive experiences platform working with some of the world's biggest brands. We have lots of food experience. We work with Unilever globally. But basically what we did in a nutshell is simplify, scale, and secure the complex work of digital promotions, digital games, digital experiences. And it's all about capturing that directly addressable data, consumer data securely. But we've templated a whole series of these brand experiences. And there's one of our templated experiences that we can turn on quickly and cost effectively that we feel meets this brief. So the idea is around home cooking inspiration, and it would be an always-on digital experience for consumers where people basically upload their recipes into a platform that allows consumers to vote on the best recipes. And the idea is that we literally rotate each month a country that is obviously renowned for its cuisine. So starting off with the spice capital of the world, Kerala, is that how you pronounce it, in India? Have you been? So the idea is, in that month, all around Indian cuisine, consumers would upload their home cooking recipe ideas using your herbs and spices. You shortlist those recipes. There's a photo upload technology within our platform. So if I'm at home cooking a recipe, I upload my photo. You can create a long list. And then I get notified I'm on the long list. I share a social link with my friends to vote. There's a voting mechanic so anyone can vote for the recipes. And the idea is that my home recipe could become recipe of the month. But basically, there's an ongoing incentive around this, around winning trips to that destination. So that month it would be to go to India. So there's lots of layers that we can talk about in terms of how we incentivize people to vote and to take part. But the idea is that we're creating a community around home cooking. You've got user-generated content, and you've got a very simple idea to activate. So you can see how this would go month by month. So month 2 could be Spain, exactly the same idea, but upload your Spanish recipes. Month 3, USA. So it goes on. So you're collecting the data on consumers. It's opted in, directly addressable data. This is one of our templates that we can turn on in 5 days. And we would love to talk a bit more about it. But in a nutshell, that's it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm interested in terms of, have you got any other brands that you're working with in a similar capacity without revealing all your trade secrets on this kind of idea?
Yes, we've, as I say, we have these templated experiences. So that's a create your own experience. So we work with other food brands and other FMCG brands globally on this type of thing. But yes, so we could talk separately about that. But thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Well done. Well done to each of our 6 startups for kicking off the brand challenge sessions here at the House of Innovation. Why don't we talk through them one by one? We'd love to get your thoughts on each of the 6 and just like your highlights. So we started off the session looking at gamification and how you can create some amazing in-game experiences. What were your thoughts on Interact?
Well, I mean, I think it's really interesting how brands are starting to go into this space, and I can really see the way that it's kind of, I liked the way the brand and our role was paired with, like, you know, the food and the creativity and the flavor. So I think that was, yeah, it was a really good food for thought, pun intended, around how we could kind of look into gaming, which is something which is obviously highly relevant, but not something that we've necessarily as a business done a lot with so far. So you're going to make us do the live feedback without even conferring.
Yeah.
I was just thinking this is a tough gig, right?
Let's go on to Nexus. So they then had a solution around, you know, personalizing engagement and on the e-commerce process. What were your thoughts on Nexus?
It's a really strong proposition. I mean, the holy grail is personalization at scale, but how to do it in a non-creepy way. So I think in terms of, well, it is. It's the crux of what we're trying to do. So I think it's really good from an own platforms perspective. You can see the integration with D2C as well. There's been good stimulus though on the other platforms. So I think we're just processing that as well.
Cool. And then the third company we looked at was Favored, and their big idea for how you could show up on TikTok. What are your thoughts on TikTok?
Well, other than the fact that you can lose a few hours on TikTok quite easily, I think it's really interesting. I mean, the speed, I wasn't necessarily aware of how fast it had grown as a platform relative to other socials. So I think it's very interesting about getting to, I guess, credible and different ways of creative content. And obviously everyone's thinking about it, whether it's through in-housing or through partners and stuff. So yeah, really good kind of provocation on how to do that. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, Favored are doing some cool stuff there. And then we turned up the last with Comedy Crowd. What were your thoughts on how you can get comedians to help support your brand?
I think we're both aligned with the brand safety aspect in terms of comedy can be quite polarizing, and how do you extend your brand into that space? I think for us, I was definitely sitting more on the fence there. I'll put my hand up. That's where I'm getting kind of splinters. But I think it's definitely a good provocation. The ideas from Flavoured, attention grabbing, fish where the fish are in terms of eyeballs. That provocation on TikTok's been good for us today.
Yeah, yeah. And then we looked at Whisper and their idea of friend influencers and how you can use, turn everyone basically into a social media influencer. What were your thoughts on Whisper?
I want to dig into the engagement rate. When I see an engagement rate like that, I have to kind of, it gets me scratching, but I think it's brilliant. I'd like to know more about the viewability because my media manager would kill me if I didn't ask about that. So I think how we get third-party verification in there is where my head's at. But I think advocacy, it is taking the referral, friends, my wife speaking to her mum's groups about recipe content and collection. So I think that's something that is definitely a good provocation. Olivia?
Agreed, really. I mean, I think you've summed it up nicely.
Nice. And then we finished with Promotigo and their solution there in terms of driving engagement and using that to fuel your data. What were your thoughts on Promotigo?
I really like it with first-party data capture. I've got to admit, when I first looked at it, I was like, really good for D2C. If we're looking at samplings with activation, I can see how you can integrate that. So I think it's the GDPR compliant flag that you had, my eyes were drawn to it. So I think it's great for first-party data activation, but it's about having the right kind of campaign and lens. But it's really good to see the brands that you've got on there.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I think I liked the way that you built in the thinking around like the sort of global travel, the herbs and spices, and the kind of flavour, and how you can kind of use that as a way to engage and drive like user-generated ideas as well. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, I'll give you a minute to debrief between you.
A minute? So generous.
A minute to make one of the biggest decisions of your month, if not year. And then while you're doing that, I'll just give everyone a quick debrief in terms of what's happening here in the House of Innovation. So right here, we've got 35 companies. It's getting official. 35 companies. So do take the time to go around, check them out, visit them at their booths. They've all got interesting demos to engage with. Second thing to say is we've got speed dating happening right here as well. This is your chance to meet 5 innovative companies in 30 minutes. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't dated for a while, it might be a way to get back in the game as well. But a great way to get an insight into what's happening in the industry and how the industry is progressing. So do talk to the guys in the lab coats if you'd like to jump into one of those speed dating sessions. And then lastly, right after this, we're jumping into a session looking at video. So if any of you are interested in a new way to produce or curate video, then do stick around for that. That's going to be a really interesting session from United Plankton. That has been a minute. I don't know if they're ready to go though. What do you think? There's a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure. Do you want to give them a hustle, Claire? In the meantime, talk amongst yourselves. We'll come back. Here we go. They have arrived. The smoke is coming out of the chimney. A decision has been made. So,
you got a drum roll or any kind of...
We need a drum roll. Can we do a drum roll? Yes, front row drum roll. Here we go. Of course, you can work with all 6 of these companies. And it seems like there's probably lots of conversations to follow on anyway. But,
yeah, but
Olivia, why don't you tell us?
First off, though, just want to say massive thank you. I know it's kind of a no small feat coming on a stage, lots of noise with us here as well. So look, really great job, and thank you to everyone, and really good thought-provoking ideas. And I'm going to pass over to my esteemed colleague Andrew to announce who we've chosen that we'd love to progress conversations with.
So I think you can't beat a good engagement rate, can you? So I think we'd like to phone a friend is where our heads are at.
Okay, so, Whisper.
Whisper.
Well done, Ollie. Let's do a quick photo moment here from our crazy scientist photographer. Thank you, Mark.
Can we get one with my co-founder as well, please?
Oh, come on. Did you bring your parents too? Thank you, Ollie. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Andrew.